Hey there, welcome. Come on in. Come on in. It is Winning Wednesday. Are you guys ready for Winning Wednesday? Listen, I am Lisa L. McLean, CFEI, the Certified Financial Educator. And I'm here with you to provide some information for you today on your year-end bookkeeping. I know can you believe it? We're already at year end. And I know that there are many small businesses who have kind of let the bookkeeping get away from you. I'm here to help. I want to give you 10 tips today on year-end bookkeeping and things that you can do to make sure that you are closing out your year-end properly, efficiently, effectively, so that you can go into the new year in the right manner. So today we are talking about finances. On my channel, Winning and Living Golden, I come in every Wednesday and give you information. Entrepreneurs, multipreneurs, small business owners, nonprofit founders, this is for you. This is information to help you thrive, win, and live golden in your life, in your finances, in your spirit, and in your business. This is crucial for us as entrepreneurs, as small business owners, to ensure that we are taken care of wholly, that our whole self is taken care of, not just the business. Our business only thrives when we are thriving. And so on my channel, Winning and Living Golden, I come in and give you information that can help you to thrive, win, grow, and succeed in life, in finances, in spirit, and in your business. So let's get started today. Are you guys ready for this information? This is going to be some really, really good information. I got 10 tips or 10 things that you should do for your year-end bookkeeping to make sure that you are ready not only to close out your books, not only to go into the new year, but be ready for that tax time, right? So we want to make sure that we're grabbing everything that we need to do at year end before we close out this year to make sure that we're making all of the right moves so that we can make sure we're making all of the right decisions when it comes to our business finances. Are you guys ready to jump in? Are you ready for Winning with Lisa today? We're here on Winning with Lisa, where we win, we win. Let's go, guys. Let's get in this. Let's get into this good information. So we're going to start with payroll. So we want to make sure, so we know that at the end of the year, we're calculating all of the funds that we have paid our employees and or independent contractors. So we're going to be making sure that we're reconciling our payroll to ensure that the information that we've sent to the IRS as it relates to your quarterly taxes for the employees that you've withheld those taxes, that information per the IRS records is matching what your books are saying. So we want to reconcile our payroll to make sure that our payroll tax liabilities are matching those quarterly payroll tax returns. And then we want to make sure before we even send out any W-2s, right, we want to make sure that we have that information that is in our books, that is matching our books. So that information is on the W-2s. The exact dollar amounts is on the W-2 form. If any of our clients have a separate payroll account, or any of my clients have a separate payroll account, I'll make sure to reconcile those accounts before I prepare the W-2s for my clients. And then if you are giving commissions and bonuses, make sure that we're capturing that. That information should be in your books. If you're using QuickBooks Online like I do for my clients, that information should be in your books, the bonuses and the commissions that you've paid to your employees. And so that information must go on the W-2 as well. And then we want to make sure that we're confirming the correct Social Security number is on that W-2, as well as the correct name. We don't want any problems with the IRS, y'all. So that's payroll. That's number one. Number two, so we're preparing not only payroll, but like I said, we're looking at the independent contractors we've paid. So number two, we're getting ready to prepare those 1099s. Those 1099s, both the 1099s and the W-2s are due by January 31st of the next year. So you only have about a month to prepare this information. This is why it's so crucial that we keep up our bookkeeping throughout the year, guys. Contact me, call me. I will leave information in this post so that you can get in touch with me at Golden Path Services so that I can assist you with not only catching up your bookkeeping, but possibly cleaning up your books for the year so that you can be ready to do your W-2s, do your 1099s, and be ready for taxes, right? We got to be ready for this tax returns we got to get done. So number 2, preparing the 1099. So this is an essential part of tax season for me as a bookkeeper and accountant. And so, the 1099 is that tax document is where we report the income where we have paid an independent contractor. Now, the minimum is $600 in the calendar year. So if you have paid any independent contractor at least $600 during the calendar year, you are going to be required to issue a 1099 to them. And the way that you do that is, hopefully, when you started work with this independent contractor, you received a W-9 from them, that you required and requested a W-9 form from them that gave you their social, or if they're, running a business, their EIN, and the information that you will need to actually put on the 1099 form. So, so 1099 and W-2s are definitely going to be one of the first things we start to think about at year end when we have employers or when we have actually paid independent contractors. We want to make sure, again, that we're reconciling the 1099 information and ensuring that the information is accurate and that information from our books goes on to that contractor's 1099 form. Number 3, we're breezing right through, y'all. This is good information. Is this good information for you small business owners, multipreneurs, nonprofit founders? So number 3, we're gonna talk about inventory. So a lot of times at the end of the year, especially for small businesses, if you don't have a heap of inventory, you're probably only going to do like a physical inventory count once a year. And usually that's about the end of the year. So we do the physical inventory count at the end of the year, small businesses, so that we are making sure of what we have on hand at the end of the year. And as we're calculating the beginning inventory, comparing it to the cost of goods sold and the ending inventory. And so that's how we actually get our cost of goods sold figure for the year, is understanding what we have left in our inventory. And so that's what we want to do. We want to do a complete inventory inspection and just count the physical items we have on hand. Also inspecting the items to see if they're still in good condition and the right condition or a good enough condition, I guess, for it to be sold. Some things may have to be disposed of and written off if they have either become obsolete or if they've somehow become damaged in the storing location. So I am usually involved in physical inventory at the end of the year with my clients. I assist them with that process. But my clients normally can, do the count themselves and just, provide that information to me so that I can include it in QuickBooks Online. So let's see, year-end count is vital. It's going to be vital to maintaining accurate financial statements. So we want to make sure that we're doing that physical count by the end of the year, at least once a year. So that's number 3. Now, number 4, we are talking about reviewing backup documentation. So we want to make sure that we're keeping accurate information and documentation to support our income and our expenses. This is crucial. Especially for us as small business owners. Do you know that small businesses are the ones that get audited the most by the IRS? As opposed to like a larger corporation. So we want to make sure that we have the documentation to support all of our transactions. And without accurate records, it's difficult to track inventory. It's difficult to track sales and expenses. So we want to make sure that we have this information and that we have it accessible and readily available, right? So when completing our year end and our bookkeeping review, this is the perfect time to review your documentation to make sure you have everything that you need, especially for my businesses, because you want to make sure that it's going to be something that's tax deductible. And in order for it to be tax deductible and to be a write-off on your business tax return, you've got to have that documentation and make sure that you have that documentation filed away, whether it's, hopefully it's not on paper, hopefully it's digitally scanned somewhere, but make sure you have it. So that was number 4. Number five, we're reviewing our accounts payable and our accounts receivable. Accounts payable are the amounts that are due to our vendors that we owe, and our accounts receivable are the amounts that are due to us from our customers that owe us as business owners. So our year-end checklist definitely is going to include this review of accounts payable and accounts receivable. And so we want to make sure that as we're closing out our financial activity for this current year, that we're looking at collecting on any invoices that are outstanding, especially those that are, 60 days or so. Hopefully they haven't gotten that old, but we want to make sure that we're collecting on any of those outstanding invoices in accounts receivable that are still due. And then we want to make sure that we're sending reminders at that time. So at the end of the year is a great time to send reminders to our customers for those accounts receivables, saying, hey, just, I know you haven't forgotten about me, but just sending you a quick reminder that this invoice still needs to be paid. And then in addition, we want to make sure that as our customers are paying us, that we are paying our vendors for the amounts that we owe to them as well. And so at this time of the year, you'll probably again get reminders from the vendors that you've done work with, that you've done business with. And so they'll be sending you reminders saying, hey, that invoice that I sent you last week or 2 weeks ago or last month, it's still due. And so we want to make sure that we're making good on the promises that we've made to our vendors to pay them for their services or the merchandise that we have purchased from them. So we are going to the next number, record expenses and annual journal entries. We want to record all of our expenses so that we're capturing all of our costs in our financial statements. And then we want to record our annual journal entries. So now is the time, if you've fallen behind, like I said before, I know that that's a thing. I get it. I totally get it. And that's why I'm in business. That's why I do what I do, because I want to help my small business owners, my multipreneurs, my nonprofit founders to catch up and stay on track with your bookkeeping, with your recording of your transactions. And so we want to make sure that we are recording those expenses and categorizing them correctly in our books. Now, I use QuickBooks Pro online for my clients. You can use an Excel spreadsheet, especially if you're just getting started in business and you are not cash heavy right now. You might want to start with Excel and just, you're not going to have as many transactions as the business that's been in business for a while. So start with Excel. I love Excel. I use Excel greatly. And then as you become, you begin to get more transactions and you've opened that business bank account and you have those transactions coming in, then you can move over to QuickBooks and then sync your bank account to your QuickBooks accounts to make the accounting easier. I can show you how to do that. So again, we're recording our expenses and we're recording the annual journal entries at the end of the year. We're going to have to record a few journal entries to just make sure that we're carefully reviewing our books and making sure that the appropriate entries are being recorded. We want to make sure that all of the revenue that we have earned during the year is recorded and added to our ledger. It could be for services. It could be for items that we've sold. We just want to make sure that we're recording that information and accurately reflecting that information in our financial statements. We need to account again for our expenses that we have incurred and not yet paid. So if you have an incurred an expense and you owe a vendor and you have not paid that expense, it should be an expense on your books if you are under accrual accounting. And so we don't want to ignore or dismiss any expense that we have incurred as a business owner and that we owe. It is a liability to us. We want to make sure that we're adjusting our inventory levels. So we talked about doing the physical count, right? And so part of the annual journal entry is going to be adjusting any of our assets on our books for our physical inventory count, and just making sure that it's reflecting the information on our financial statements and our assets is reflecting the actual physical inventory count of what we have on hand. All right, let's move on. So we're going next to reconciling, one of my favorite things to do, even when I was in the corporate world. Reconciling accounts, reconciling bank accounts was one of my favorite things to do because I just found myself so good at it. And it was a challenge, but I always stepped up to the challenge. So reconciling your bank account is going to be crucial to you as a small business owner. We want to make sure that once we have all of that income and those expenses recorded, right? We have all of our transactions recorded. We have all of our journal entries recorded. We want to make sure that we're reconciling all of our bank and our credit card accounts for our small business. So this means that every month, and you're receiving a monthly bank statement or a credit card statement, and we want to make sure that our final financial statements are reconciled to those statements and that we've captured, right? We've captured all of the transactions that pertain to our business. It's easiest to do the reconciliations again on a month-to-month basis, of course, so that it's not such a big job at the end of the year. And if it's done correctly, our bank statements should match to our books. And if they don't match, then we got to do some investigation and research and do some reconciling to figure out what the differences are and make sure that we get those things to match. So the next step in our year-end bookkeeping process, just making sure that you have this checklist, small business owners, nonprofit founders, multipreneurs. I want to make sure that you have this information to help you wrap up your year-end in the best way possible. And so the next step we're going to do is gather and review our financial statements. So we want to gather our financial statements and begin to review them. And so the year-end is always a busy time for businesses. I get it. I know. And you'll want to review your financial statements for the past 12 months. See how you did. And hopefully, if you have a good bookkeeper, if you have someone like me who's doing your books, who's maintaining your books and giving you reports, you should have an idea before you even get to year end. I send my clients monthly and quarterly reports to make sure that they understand where they are, and also trend graphs so that they can see how they're doing as compared from one month to the next or one quarter to the next, and be able to make those crucial decisions in their business. So hopefully you have an idea of how your business has been doing over the year. But this review can be helpful, again, in identifying trends and making those decisions about your business's future, and also help you to pinpoint errors and discrepancies in your financial statement. So you want to make sure you do that review. And I encourage you to do the review also with a bookkeeper, with your bookkeeper. Sit alongside them or do a Zoom call if you're remote, have a remote bookkeeper like me. Do a Zoom call and just go through the financial statements. Ask the questions that you need to ask, and ask them to help you review your financial statements for year end. And this will give you a very good view of your entire business activity for the year. And it will help you as you're generating that yearly report. If you do a yearly report for your business, these financial statements will help you. And so you want to make sure that you're reviewing them before you publish any financial statements in any type of document, right? So the next step in our bookkeeping year-end checklist, year-end process is we want to make sure that we do a review before year-end taxes. So this is where I come in, or if you have a CPA, this is where they would come in. But this is where I come in as a bookkeeper and accountant. And I make sure that we follow all of these steps in the checklist, right? This checklist that I'm giving you is this very checklist that I use with my clients. So we follow these steps in the checklist. And then before we go to tax time, before we go to prepare taxes, we want to make sure that we're doing this review for year end. So we want to make sure that we're looking at what types of moves we need to make before year end. So right now, today is December 13th, and we have a couple of weeks left of this calendar year. You can still make decisions. You can still make moves before this calendar year ends that can be advantageous to you prior to the year end, as opposed to waiting until after the calendar year turns into the next year, and then now you're in another tax year. So this year-end review with your CPA or with your bookkeeper is going to be very crucial. If you're going to owe taxes, wouldn't you want to know about that now in December, as opposed to waiting and doing the review and just, getting your books over to me as your bookkeeper, or your CPA in March or April, and finding out that you owe these dollars? Let's do the review now. We can prepare an estimate of your tax liability based off of your financial statements right now. And that's really, really helpful, in my opinion. And I hope you agree, as a small business owner, that it would be great to know where I stand right now so that I can prepare. And I know most people hate getting hit with a big tax bill. One of my goals is to make sure that we're capturing all of those business expenses, and we're reducing your tax liability by as much as possible, so that you're not paying in any taxes when it comes to tax time, that you've accurately estimated your taxes throughout the year, so that you don't have to pay in those additional taxes. But we don't want that unexpected bill. So that's why this review with your bookkeeper like me is important at the end of the year. Now, we want to also, next step, we want to make sure that we're reviewing our plan for the next year. So at the end of the year is an amazing time for you as small business owners to really look at what's our plan for next year. What goals do we want to hit? What changes do we need to make in our business to achieve the goals that we are setting for next year? We want to give ourselves this advantage in the new year by planning our accounting tasks in advance. So by mapping out what we need to have done and when, that's going to help us to avoid needless stress as business owners. Hear me, business owner. It's going to help you avoid that stress, and also save you some valuable time as you plan now. So a little bit of planning goes a long way toward guaranteeing that you have a successful accounting year next year. So let's do that. Let's do that for our businesses. Let's do that for ourselves. And then we want to make sure that we have a tax plan in place. So when you're leaving your bookkeeping duties to a pro like me, you're good, right? You're good. But now if you're doing your own bookkeeping and you leave those bookkeeping duties, and you don't do them for a long time, it can require a very hefty investment of both time and money. And so you want to make sure that you're getting this bookkeeping done throughout the year, month to month, that you have a bookkeeper like me on your retainer to make sure that I am providing these services for you during the year. Closing out our books at year end is largely about ensuring that we have every financial transaction related to our business operation, and that it is captured and recorded and accurately recorded in our financial statements. So not only does this give us the opportunity to generate the necessary reports that we need, but it helps us to understand what our company needs, where our company stands, And it helps us to, again, get ready to file that annual tax return. So among some of the timely accounting habits that are going to keep us on track, that we want to make sure that we have that plan for, that I'm talking about, is we want to make sure that we have cash flow management issues taken care of. We want to make sure that we're avoiding costly interest charges. So a lot of times interest charges and late fees are due to late payments. I'm just not managing our creditors well. So we want to make sure that we have a plan for that. Overlooking tax remittances. Oh my gosh, if you filed different tax remittances late, then you incur a penalty. So we want to avoid these penalties, unnecessary penalties that our business could actually have. We want to make sure we have a plan of attack to make sure that we're not incurring those types of penalties and fees. And then missed tax deduction opportunities. Make sure that as we're planning for our taxes, that we are capturing everything that we can write off. And as a bookkeeper, as an accountant, as a degreed accountant, this is something that I'm familiar with and I have expertise with, and your CPA will as well. Making sure that you're capturing every doggone penny that you can capture to reduce that tax liability and reduce your taxes for the year. And so the easiest way to wrap up our calendar year and get ready is to have this systematic approach during the year. So I wanted to come in and give you all of these steps for your year-end bookkeeping so that you have the information that you need, that you are aware and cognizant of what needs to happen at year-end as a small business owner, as that multipreneur, as that nonprofit founder, so that you're understanding all of the little nuances and different things that happen at year end, especially for those of you who are in your first year of business. I understand that year end could possibly be quite overwhelming. I get it. I've been there. I've been doing entrepreneurship for many, many years, for over 25 years. So I totally get it. And I hope that this information has been helpful, beneficial to you. Get in touch with me. My name is Lisa L. McLean, CFEI, but you can reach me at my website. Go to www.lisalmclean.com and you can reach me there. You can contact me there. You can also reach out to me via email at lisalmclean.com. Reach out to me and I'll put my contact information in a Calendly link, so that you can get on my calendar for a free 30-minute consultation where I can talk to you about your business needs when it comes to business consulting or bookkeeping and accounting or whatever your business needs are, and assess how we can work together and give you the tools and information that you need to continue to go forward in your small business. So thank you again for joining me here on this episode of Winning with Lisa, where we win. And I will see you guys back here next Wednesday, God willing, where we will share more about how we can thrive, grow, succeed, win, and live golden as small business owners, multipreneurs, and nonprofit founders. I'll see you guys next time. Take care until then. Bye.